Hello, welcome to part 4 of A Day in the Life of an Acumatica Distributor. We're going to now be talking about packing and shipping. I'd like to start by briefly introducing 3G Pacejet, who we are and what we do. 3G Pacejet is a cloud-based shipping provider. We've been around since 2008, cover a number of different ERPs. Acumatica has certainly been a focus for us due to its cloud nature and targeting the small to medium business area. We've been working with Acumatica as a direct partner for over 3 years. Acumatica has been building out the packing and shipping integration to 3G Pacejet. And in 2024, that integration became part of their core code. So everyone who's on 2024.1 or newer has 3G Pacejet already built into their Acumatica system. Really, it's just a matter of activating it and pairing it up with a 3G Pacejet portal. Some of the key features that 3G Pacejet adds in within Acumatica are rate shopping the sales order and shipment records directly within Acumatica, including a predictive packing feature that allows for a more accurate rate shopping experience versus just a basic weight-based estimate. We also offer a very large carrier network, including parcel LTL and third-party broker-style freight resellers. We can offer improved shipping efficiency when it comes to especially things like high-volume workflows. Imagine hundreds of orders per day. We can very quickly and accurately capture packing information, rate shop, execute, get labels and other paperwork, and get all that information synchronized within Acumatica as well. So if you're ready, let's take a look at the system. Let's jump right into an Acumatica sales order. As we saw in the previous segments, Acumatica sales orders can take lots of different paths to get to the point of packing and shipping out. They might come from an e-commerce front end, they might come from an EDI partner, they might be keyed in by a CSR directly within Acumatica. And when it comes to shipping needs, Pacejet is going to allow the information that's critical for shipping to be captured early and passed on through the rest of the process. We can offer things like any special delivery needs that the customer might express during checkout, if they have a shipping preference, or even do they have specific freight terms, such as collect or third-party details, that they need communicated to the carrier for proper billing. We can also incorporate a rate shopping step during the sales order entry process. Once I've got some basic information about the order set, such as who the customer is, what sort of items they're interested in, the Shop for Rates button is going to give us a wide variety of shipping choices based on the carriers that we have negotiated rates with. It's going to include that packaging prediction that I mentioned earlier, and it's going to show things such as a marked up freight amount based on the carrier's negotiated rate, as well as a configurable markup, as well as the time in transit for different delivery methods, so that, say, should expediting or a specific delivery date be requested by the customer, it's easy to figure out which service is going to provide that. Once the correct service has been decided on, they can say okay, and that freight total is now immediately part of the sales order in Acumatica. We can see the order total now includes shipping, so that the order can very quickly proceed on to placing and fulfilling. Once I'm comfortable with all the details that have been recorded for the sales order, it's time to proceed on to shipping it out. I'm going to manually create the shipment. However, any shipping creation process within Acumatica is going to work fine with how 3G Pacejet interfaces with the next step of the process. Because essentially, we're just waiting for shipment information to be confirmed in Acumatica so that we can quickly proceed on to the shipping workbench with that information. Once the different order management tasks have been completed inside Acumatica, the information is handed off to the 3G Pacejet shipping workbench. And you can think of this somewhat similar to the physical flow of an order through the warehouse. right? The planning work has been completed in Acumatica, and maybe a printed picking ticket was generated at the end of that process, right? The physical goods are now making their way through the warehouse towards that packing shipping area. And that's when the information also makes its way to the 3G Pacejet shipping workbench so that the two can meet up and quickly get the order out the door. I can see all of the different active shipments, in other words, shipments that have not yet been completed, are waiting for me on my 3G Pacejet shipping workbench, right? Suppose that I did have a printed picking ticket along with the items. I can easily scan the barcode off that picking ticket, which finds the specific order from that list that I'm supposed to be working on right now, and shows me all of the different information that's been gathered up to that point, including things like the packaging prediction, carrier and class of service, and of course any other details that the customer expressed to make sure that the delivery is successful. I can make any adjustments at this point if necessary, things like scale weighing each box perhaps, or double checking the items in each box. Or I can simply proceed on to letting the system go get the necessary labels and paperwork to get this out the door. The final step, of course, is communicating with the carrier to make sure that we understand the tracking details as well as have the labels in hand to print at the nearby label printer, which happens automatically, as well as any other supplemental documentation that might be required, such as a packing list or any other labeling that's important to the shipping process, even things like retail compliant labeling. From this point, the shipment's complete. The information is on its way back to Acumatica to close out that shipment record with updated pricing and tracking details. And as a shipper, I can immediately go back to the workbench and start on the next order I have to get out the door. The next order I show is going to be using the 3G Pacejet scan pack functionality. As I open the order up, suppose I did want to double check the items and the packaging information to make sure that both are accurate to get this order out the door. Through Pacejet's scan pack tool, I can very quickly use a handheld scanner not only to open the order, but to jump into the scanning process to capture exact packaging information about where each item went on the order, and even to capture multiple different packages. Say the order does need to span different boxes. If I scan the wrong item, it's going to tell me that too. Or if I scan too many or too few of an item, it's going to enforce that only the right items from the order are packed up in the boxes that go out the door. Once I've completed all of the items, I can see now my unpacked list is empty, so that I know this order is complete according to what the customer purchased. I'm ready to proceed on to getting my labels and paperwork. And again, I can do all this with a handheld scanner, allowing me to essentially jump through that process with just a few waves of a scanner wand, and the system takes care of all the other details for me. For my final example, let's say I have an LTL order that has to go out the door. All right, all of the different steps that I've mentioned up to this point apply to LTL type orders the same way that they would parcel type orders. We can do that same rate quoting step from the sales order, packaging prediction, suggest packaging to the user, or allow scan packaging at this point in the process to confirm that all the right items have been palletized. Some of the additional things that we add to the LTL process are automatic freight classification, including the MFC product code and freight class subcode, which can help ensure that the correct rate is chosen up front if we have comparison to make, as well as avoiding any sort of surcharges later on from improperly documenting the shipment on the bill of lading. As soon as the information is complete, again, I can tell the system I'm ready to confirm the shipment. We reach out to the LTL provider in this case. We bring back live tracking details, any specific paperwork, and we can generate supplemental labeling for the process as well. So similar to the previous order, the confirmation screen is telling us what sort of tracking information the carrier provided back and what sort of paperwork was automatically sent to the printers, which would of course include a bill of lading according to the carrier's needs and containing item-specific information that we captured in the previous step, and things like pallet level labeling or even content labels that the team can quickly grab and apply to make sure that the order is properly documented and on its way off to the customer. I'm going to complete the tour of the Pacejet shipping workbench with an international order. Our goal in processing international orders is that the team in the warehouse shouldn't have to do anything differently when faced with an international destination. Like we can see, this particular order is leaving the US, headed for Canada. We can perform the same steps around rate shopping. We can automatically bring in critical information from the sales order and Acumatica, specific to things like item pricing, harmonized codes, and countries of origin, so that the user can go through the exact same process that they normally would for any given order. If they're tasked with double checking the items and the size and weight of the container, they can complete that. As soon as that's done, they can tell the system that they're ready for their labels and paperwork. And then by looking at the destination country, the system's automatically going to provide extra documentation based on how it was configured. So I can see I've got my parcel label that was provided immediately. I also have commercial invoice, certificate of origin, USMCA type documents. These are all configurable, again, based on the types of deliveries that you have, types of destination countries you're going to. It's easy to activate or deactivate any one of those forms. The final thing that I'm going to highlight within the 3G Pacejet platform is our brand new self-service paperwork editor. So supposing the documentation that we've provided as standard isn't quite sufficient, a user can now easily jump into an editor that can reconfigure any of the paperwork pieces according to additional needs. Common examples of this are things like retailer compliance, right? For example, maybe we want to start selling through a retailer that requires we brand the packing list very specifically, including extra information about the order and where it's going. These templates are easy to grab and install on customer-specific shipping scenarios, and they're easy to make changes to if we said maybe the base layout is correct, but we need to add a few additional pieces of information contained within Acumatica data fields. It's easy to pass those in. The self-service editor allows for a wide variety of data fields to be easily added or adjusted on the paperwork, and then the paperwork immediately saved and put into use. If I want to see exactly what the paperwork is going to look like before I go to print it out, I can use the previews tool that will take an existing transaction in 3G Pacejet, lay it out according to the new template, and show me exactly what's going to print. It's going to allow me to easily make changes, tweak adjustments, and come away with a usable document and get it immediately in place for the warehouse team to start printing. So let's round all the way back to Acumatica. Of course, all the information that has been generated during the shipping process in 3G Pacejet is sent back to Acumatica so that there's full visibility on both sides of the platform. As I go back to Acumatica, if I jump into one of the shipments that I just completed, I can follow along to understand how many boxes were shipped out, which items were contained in those boxes, how much it cost to ship, and the tracking information that the carrier is providing back. I can see updated tracking details, clickable tracking links, And I can see additional information such as the cost to me to procure the label from my provider, in this case FedEx, in addition to the cost that I intend to charge my customer, right? Those two numbers are probably different in cases where I'm charging for shipping. And therefore, it's important to know both because I want to make sure I'm on top of both sides of the financial transaction. Then, supplemental paperwork is also available within Acumatica, such as package level labeling that was provided from the carrier. If I need to do any sort of reprinting, I can easily do so right within Acumatica without having to switch gears in and out of a shipping system. This concludes our look at packing and shipping with 3G Pacejet inside Acumatica. Hopefully you've gotten a sense for how fast and accurate 3G Pacejet shipping can be. And thank you for watching.